Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Scott Jennings goes nuclear on the CNN panel for making light of the actual terrorism attacks that are occurring at Tesla dealerships. This is an absolutely wild story. Let's dive in.
But what I would encourage people, and I don't even know if the folks who are doing the vandalism are actual Democrats or Republicans, but they're people who want to destroy our democracy as well. This is what I will tell folks. In moments like this, if you are so enraged that you want to act on something, you have a representative, you have a senator in Congress that doesn't have to be there any longer. You should go tell them that you are disgusted, to Sir Michael's point, that you don't like that they are not taking their congressional responsibility to heart and challenging the president and say, let us pass this law, let us repeal back this funding. But taking it with vandalism, don't agree with it, don't associate it with it. It shouldn't be a part of the Democratic brand. It shouldn't be part of the Republican brand. It's not an American brand.
So doubtful it's Republicans attacking Tesla dealerships around the country. It's pretty wild, actually. The other night, Donald Trump said these are domestic terrorists. Everybody laughed about it and scoffed at it. That video looks like terrorism to me. I mean, it's obviously an organized, coordinated effort, however people are communicating with each other, to do this to people around the country who chose to buy a Tesla at some point in the past, many of whom I'm sure are Democrats who bought them in the first place, all because their entire political worldview is ruled by their emotions. And that's the American left right now. It is one angry mob after another willing to take things into their own hands, up to and including keying, firebombing, and otherwise vandalizing cars and car dealerships and charging stations. It's outrageous. It is terrorism. People ought to be put in jail and left there for a very long time and be taught a lesson.
So when they do it to a Tesla dealership, it's really bad. But when they do it to the halls of Congress, we should pardon them. Is that your position?
No, I've never. I don't
Are
support.
you okay with
I know you haven't been around for a while, so let me educate you about my position about January the 6th.
I'm so sorry.
Let me educate you.
No, you don't need to patronize
you don't need to. You don't need to be condescending to me. So let me educate you about my position. You want to attack me? Let me finish. Let me finish.
Let's do this January 6th and then
near. I'm sorry you're getting emotional.
I'm sorry you're a condescending person who hasn't been paying attention to what I do.
Okay.
Stop, guys.
So here's the issue. I didn't support what happened on January the 6th and was one of the first Republicans to call it out. I don't support the pardons. I have repeatedly, just like my friend Ashley here, said that no violence in our political system is acceptable. But this right here, what's going on with a guy who helps our country, who runs successful companies, who doesn't have to be doing this, and now one of his companies is under systematic terroristic threat and violence all over the country, and people seem to be laughing about it or fine with it. It's outrageous. I've sat at this table and had people say, we should cut Elon Musk from the government totally. He rescued our astronauts today. Is that what we want? The treatment of this guy is outrageous. These people who are doing this need to be found, put in jail, and made an example of. That's my point.
Anyone who commits violence against Tesla or Congress or anyone else should be put in jail, 1,000%. But that should not stifle dissent or opposition from Elon Musk.
Give it a little lip service. Give it a little both sides. Go ahead.
We're still both sides here. I'm so sorry.
The kids that grew up on Reddit and Tumblr, two cesspools of the internet, the people who grew up on that rhetoric are now millennials, they are now adults, and they're out there committing stupid acts and continuing to remain in their echo chambers, while things are even worse in rich white liberal neighborhoods, where even in the DC and Northern Virginia, we're seeing Tesla cars with these new bumper stickers saying, I bought this car before I realized Elon Musk was crazy. Going through the government and looking for things to cut because they aren't that useful, yes, that's obviously a crazy thing to do. Only crazy people would bother streamlining a government service. Give me an absolute break. So good for Scott Jennings here, going off on these folks. First off, there's Ashley Allison, who is basically admitting at this point that the left is getting more and more violent. And we've already seen this happen. We saw this happen in 2016 after Trump. We saw Antifa go out there and cause violent riots wherever they went. And then in the summer of 2022, we saw riots spread across the country in 29 different states. There were 300 arrests of these rioters. Well, guess what? On that cold day in January, just 6 months later, there were over 1,500 arrests. Okay? Guess which side got pardoned? The ones that had only 300 arrests for millions of rioters, or the one that had 1,500 arrests for about 20,000 rioters? Okay, which one has the bigger amount of rioters? Which one had the Capitol building that should have been protected by the National Guard that day, but Nancy Pelosi said no? Which one is going to get that scrutiny, Nira? Definitely not from you. You were part of the Biden administration. Scott Jennings, on the other hand, is trying to tap dance around this issue, but the reality is, if he doesn't tap dance properly, CNN's going to find reason to kick him out. So I feel bad for him in that sense. But we have leftists on this CNN panel who won't fully admit that this is violence. What's going on at these Tesla dealerships is absolutely wild. So here's an example here. At a Las Vegas Tesla dealership, the attacker fired 3 rounds into different Tesla vehicles, and at least one unignited Molotov cocktail was recovered on the scene. The word resist in all capital letters was spray painted in red on the center's doors. That isn't just vandalism and destruction of property. That is a political message. And if there is a political message tied to your actions, and your actions include violence, congratulations, you are, by definition, a terrorist. There is no way around that. There is no rationalizing this. There is no nice way of wrapping this all up in this nice, pretty bow and saying that, well, these people are just, exercising their First Amendment rights. They're just getting a little out of hand. Even one of the panelists, Ashley Allison, even had to admit that this is anti-democratic. That if you want Congress, if you want your Democrat legislator to do something about Elon Musk, well, you should actually be going to these people and telling them to do something. You should be protesting in other forms. Granted, those kinds of protests are all cringe for the most part. The annoying little marches and the chanting and the people with the bullhorns that are clearly not paid to be there. Seriously, those protests don't work, and I think that's what these leftists have understood. Those protests don't work anymore. They worked in the 60s. They don't work now. Okay? What they've realized now is the only way to move forward, the only way for them to win is by upping the ante. And in this case, that means upping your rhetoric so much that it causes people to go off the rails mentally and emotionally. And now there's attacks against Tesla dealerships. Really? The reason that they're attacking Tesla dealerships is because they aren't armed like government facilities. They don't have armed security guards everywhere. Have you been to major government facilities? There are checkpoints. There are ways that you are supposed to sign in. Compare that to a car dealership where you just pull up, say, hi, what's up? Or you can break the lock and quickly do some damage where you want to. Tell me which is the easier target there. Man, this rhetoric is absolutely out of control, and it's getting worse and worse on the left. It's getting bad on Blue Sky. It's getting bad on Tumblr. It is always bad on Reddit. These places are all cesspools and echo chambers for the left, and they have lost their ever-loving minds for the second time in a decade, and this time it's not just Antifa going out there and making a fool of themselves. It's people who are about my age going out there and quite literally causing acts of terrorism to a car dealership. This is completely insane. There is nothing to be gained with this. All they're doing is lining Elon Musk's pockets and the dealership's pockets for the insurance money. Congratulations, leftists. Meanwhile, Scott Jennings is out here not only having to defend himself on CNN, but having to remind these people that their rhetoric has consequences. Trump is supposed to be taken seriously, not literally. Leftists want to be taken literally, not seriously. And that's why their rhetoric is so much crazier, because they want the insanity. And this panel, Not entirely. Again, there's Ashley Allison, who is out there basically saying, oh, there might have been a line crossed here. But then you have Miss Nira, who has no idea what she's really talking about, and immediately has to change the subject so she can feel good about herself because she's making it about Trump instead of the actual topic that is the literal terrorism that is going on in our cities once again. This is insane. And it has to stop. And I think that examples are going to have to be made in this case. Because when you commit terroristic acts on our soil compared to, let's say, just walking around the halls of Congress because someone decided to egg on the crowd and then realized they had to let him in or else something worse was going to happen, or, shutting down entire interstates and then vandalizing the CNN Center like what happened in the Summer of Love, you tell me which is the worst of the three there. I'll wait. Folks, my name is Brian. I hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.